They said love was supposed to be simple. You meet someone, you fall, you build a life together. But no one ever talks about the kind of love that grows in silence. The kind you have to hide behind smiles, behind laughter, behind "we're just friends." Althea Reyes met Kaia Montenegro on a random afternoon that didn't feel random at all. It started with something small, a shared umbrella under sudden rain, a laugh over something stupid, a glance that lasted a second too long. At first it was harmless. Kaia was loud, fearless, the kind of girl who walked into a room like she owned it. Althea was the opposite, quiet, composed, always choosing the right thing. They didn't make sense, and maybe that's exactly why they worked. "Why do you always follow the rules?" Kaia once asked, lying beside her on the grass, eyes staring up at the sky. Althea smiled faintly. "Because it's easier." Kaia turned her head, studying her. "Or because you're scared?" That question lingered longer than it should have. Because the truth was, Althea wasn't just scared of breaking rules. She was scared of what she felt every time Kaia was too close. Every time their hands brushed. Every time Kaia looked at her like she was more than just a friend. It felt dangerous. It felt right. Their love didn't start with a confession. It started with moments. Late-night talks that turned into silence filled with meaning. Inside jokes no one else understood. The way Kaia would always reach for her like it was instinct. Until one night, Althea didn't pull away. It was quiet. No dramatic music. No grand moment. Just Kaia's fingers gently lifting her chin. Just breath mixing in the dark. Just a whisper. "Tell me to stop." Althea didn't. And that was all it took. From that moment on, everything changed. They were still best friends in front of the world. But behind closed doors, they were everything. Soft touches, stolen kisses, promises they weren't sure they could keep. Because deep down, they both knew this kind of love was never meant to be easy. And one day, it would cost them everything. It started becoming dangerous the moment it felt normal. Althea couldn't remember when Kaia stopped being just her best friend. Maybe it was the night they fell asleep on the same bed and woke up tangled together, neither of them pulling away, or the way Kaia would casually reach for her hand when no one was looking like it had. Always belonged there. No labels, no questions, just feelings they both refused to name. "Althea, you've got another admirer." Mika dropped her bag beside her with a knowing look. Althea sighed. "I'm not interested." "Not interested? Or interested in someone else?" Mika raised an eyebrow. Althea said nothing. That silence was answer enough. That night, Kaia showed up unannounced like she always did. "Miss me?" she said with a smirk, leaning against the doorframe. Althea tried to stay composed. "You were here yesterday." "Exactly." Kaia stepped closer. "So?" "Too close. Always too close." "Kaia," Althea whispered, but there was no strength in it. Kaia tilted her head, her expression softening. "Why do you say my name like you're about to stop me, but never actually do?" Because she couldn't. Because she didn't want to. Their foreheads touched. One breath, two, and then Kaia kissed her. Slow, certain, familiar, like it wasn't the first time, like it wouldn't be the last. "Tell me to stop," Kaia murmured against her lips. Althea's fingers tightened around her shirt. "No." And just like that, they crossed a line they could never uncross. Morning came with consequences. It always did. Althea stood in front of the mirror, her fingers brushing lightly over her lips. She could still feel it. Kaia's touch, Kaia's voice, Kaia's kiss. It felt right. Too right. Althea. Her mother's voice broke the silence. Doña Carmen stood by the door, composed and unyielding. We have a guest coming later. Make sure you look presentable. Althea frowned. Who is it? A man worth your time. Reality settled in before she could react. His name was Daniel Torres. Successful, polite. Everything her family wanted for her. Everything she was supposed to want. Dinner felt suffocating. The soft clink of cutlery, the polite conversation, it all blurred together. Daniel smiled at her, warm and attentive. You seem quiet, he said gently. Althea forced a small smile. Just a long day. But her thoughts were somewhere else. With someone else, because no matter how perfect Daniel seemed, he wasn't Kaia. Later that night, she stepped outside needing air, and there, she saw her. Kaia, waiting. So, Kaia said, hands in her pockets, voice unreadable. You've got a suitor now. Althea looked away. It's not like that. Kaia let out a short, bitter laugh. Then what is it, Thea? Silence. Again. Kaia stepped closer, her eyes searching. No more pretending tonight, she said softly. Tell me the truth. Her voice cracked just slightly. Am I just something you keep in the dark? The question hit deeper than anything else. Because Althea didn't have an answer. Not one she was brave enough to say. Kaia, I don't. Kaia shook her head and stepped back. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I get it. You'll choose what's easy. And for the first time, Althea didn't move. Didn't follow. Didn't fight for her. Because deep down, she knew Kaia was right. And that was the beginning of the end. Things didn't end that night. But something changed. Althea felt it the moment Kaia walked away and didn't look back. No messages, no random visits, no late-night calls, nothing. At first, she told herself it was for the best. This was what she needed. Space, clarity, control. A chance to finally do the right thing. So she said yes. To dinner invites. To polite conversations. To Daniel. You're different, Daniel said one afternoon, watching her closely. Althea looked up. Different how? Like you're trying to be here, but part of you isn't. She gave a small smile. I'm here. But even she didn't believe it, because every quiet moment, every pause, every breath felt like something was missing, and that something had a name. Kaia. Meanwhile, Kaia was learning how to disappear. She stopped going to places they used to share, avoided mutual friends, turned her loud laughter into something quieter, colder. But some habits were harder to break, like showing up. One night, without thinking, Kaia found herself standing outside Althea's house again. Same spot, same silence, different feeling. The lights inside were warm, inviting, but Kaia knew better now. She didn't belong there. Not anymore. Still, she stayed. Just for a while. Just enough to remind herself what she was letting go of, until the door opened. Althea stepped out, and for a second, everything felt the same again. Kaia, her voice was softer this time, careful, like she didn't know if she was allowed to say her name anymore. Kaia let out a small breath, forcing a smile. Relax, I'm not here to ruin anything. That hurt more than anger ever could. Silence stretched between them. Heavy, unfamiliar. "I miss you." Althea didn't mean to say it, but it slipped out anyway. Kaia's expression flickered. For a moment, just a moment, the walls she built started to crack. "Don't," Kaia said quietly. "Don't say things like that if you don't mean them." "I do mean it." "Then prove it." The words hung in the air. Sharp, dangerous. Althea froze, because proving it meant choosing her, and she still couldn't. Kaia let out a soft, humorless laugh. "Yeah, that's what I thought." And just like before, she stepped back. But this time it wasn't just distance. It was goodbye. The proposal came sooner than Althea expected. Daniel stood in front of her, nervous but sincere. "I don't want to rush you," he said. "But I know what I want." He took a breath. "I want a future with you." It was everything her family had been waiting for. Everything she was supposed to say yes to. And yet, her heart didn't move. Because somewhere out there was a girl who never asked for forever, only for her. "Althea," her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "This is the kind of life people dream of. A stable future, a respected name, a perfect image, a perfect lie." That night, Althea sat alone in her room, staring at her phone. Kaia's name's still there, still saved, still untouched. One call, that's all it would take. Her fingers hovered over the screen, shaking, hesitating. If she called, everything would change. If she didn't, everything would still change. Tears blurred her vision, because for the first time, she understood the truth. She wasn't choosing between two people. She was choosing between two lives. One where she was safe, and one where she was real. The phone slipped from her hand. The silence was her answer. The next day, Althea smiled, wore something elegant, sat beside Daniel, and said the words everyone wanted to hear. Yes. And somewhere, far from that room, Kaia felt it. That quiet, invisible breaking point. The moment when hope finally let go. And this time, she didn't cry. She just lost it. Days passed, and the wedding preparations began. Althea tried to focus on dresses, flowers, and Daniel. But every note, every detail reminded her of Kaia. Kaia stopped showing up entirely. No calls, no texts, just silence. But Althea felt it, everywhere, in the way her heart ached when she saw Daniel smile. In the way she imagined Kaia standing there, daring her to choose. One rainy afternoon, Althea walked past the garden. There, standing under the pouring rain, was Kaia. Soaked, defiant, perfectly broken. "Kaia," Althea whispered. "Stop pretending," Kaia said, tears mixing with the rain. "Stop smiling. Stop lying to yourself." Althea's hand shook. "I can't." Kaia took a step closer, voice trembling. "Then what are we even doing, Thea?" For the first time, Althea realized the truth. She was trapped between the life she was choosing and the love she couldn't live without. The rain poured harder. The world blurred. And Kaia finally let herself cry. Not for Althea. Not yet. For the love she was losing. The house was alive with laughter, music, and carefully orchestrated perfection. Althea moved gracefully in her wedding gown. Every step measured, every smile rehearsed. But behind the sparkling eyes and flawless posture, her heart was breaking. Kaia was nowhere to be seen. Or so everyone thought. From the corner of her eye, Althea caught a shadow lurking near the edge of the crowd. Kaia, Her eyes met Althea's for a brief, fleeting second. No one else noticed, but Althea's heart stopped. The ceremony began. Vows were exchanged. Words were spoken. Promises made. Althea said them all, perfectly, but her mind replayed Kaia's voice, Kaia's touch, Kaia's whispers. Every I do felt hollow. After the ceremony, the reception was in full swing. Althea excused herself and stepped into the garden to breathe. And there she was, Kaia, soaked in moonlight, eyes burning. "You lied to yourself," Kaia said, voice shaking. "You lied to me. You lied to everyone." Althea swallowed hard. "Kaia, Don't," Kaia snapped. "Don't try to explain. Don't try to justify. You chose safety over love." Kaia stepped closer, trembling with fury and heartbreak. "I loved you," she said, tears falling freely now. "I still do, and you just let me go." Althea's hands shook. I didn't know what to do. Kaia cut her off. You could have fought for me, but you didn't." The rain began again, softly at first, then heavier. The garden blurred around them. Time seemed to freeze. Two hearts, still beating for each other, torn apart by circumstance. "I'll always be here," Kaia whispered, voice breaking. "But I can't stay." She turned and walked away. Althea reached for her, but her fingers closed on air. That was it. The final moment she realized she had lost Kaia forever. Weeks passed after the confrontation. Althea moved through life like a ghost. The engagement, the wedding preparations, even Daniel's presence felt distant. Kaia was gone completely. No messages, no sightings, no chance to explain. Everywhere Althea went, she felt her absence. In quiet moments, she'd catch herself imagining Kaia laughing, walking into her arms. She tried to push it away, tried to focus, but the memory of Kaia's eyes, fiery and broken, haunted her. At night, Althea would sit alone, staring at her phone, knowing she could call, but never did. The silence was deafening. And Kaia poured herself into work, friends, anything to distract from the ache. But some nights, the memory of Althea's smile would bring her to tears again. They had both lost something each other, but neither could reach out. Until fate intervened. It was raining again. The irony wasn't lost on Althea. She was walking home when she saw a familiar figure under the streetlight. Kaia, soaked, defiant, and waiting. Their eyes met. No words. Just the storm around them and the years of unspoken love. "I thought I'd never see you again," Althea whispered. Kaia's lips trembled. "I didn't think I could come back." They stood in silence for a long moment, the rain drenching them, blurring the world around them. Finally, Althea stepped forward. I can't live without you." Kaia's eyes filled with tears, relief, and longing. "You choose me?" "Yes," Althea said, heart pounding, soul aching. "Always you." Kaia smiled, a real unguarded smile. And then finally they embraced. The rain fell around them, washing away the past. The rest of the world didn't matter. Not family expectations, not social obligations, not even the life Althea had tried to force herself into. All that mattered was them, and for the first time in a long time, they were free. Some love stories don't end the way people expect. They don't follow the rules. They don't stay safe. They don't choose what's easy. Althea almost did. She almost lived a life that looked perfect on the outside. A life built on expectations, on approval, on fear. But love, real love, doesn't stay quiet forever. It lingers. It aches. It waits. And sometimes it breaks you first, just so you can finally choose it. Kaia didn't lose her mind. She lost patience. She lost hope. She lost the girl who once promised her everything without ever saying it out loud. But in the end, love found its way back. Not because it was easy, but because it was real. They didn't fix everything overnight. There were still consequences, still whispers, still a world that didn't fully understand them. But for the first time, they weren't hiding anymore. And maybe that's what love really is. Not perfection, not approval, but the courage to choose someone, even when it costs you everything. When I married, she lost it. But in the end, I lost everything just to find her again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the story, please support this channel so we can create more woman love stories in English. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories filled with romance, drama, and real love. Every like, share, and comment you leave helps us create more stories that bring inspiration and representation to the WLW community. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, it's never too late to love the person who is truly meant for you.